Deeper than music radio. Behind every great song is a greater story.
Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music.
Deeper than music radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I like to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world listening to us on the many platforms that we're podcasted through. Also like to give a special shout out to everybody out there that's a part of the whole platform and also a part of the new platform, Nious Media, Nious Media. We just launched a Roku channel, and I want to introduce this next guest that we have, a very special treat. I met her by way of Facebook, podcast guest connection. We started talking, and I like what she's doing. It's in line with, what we got going on, bringing stories of creators, innovators, and people that inspire us to live our best life. Also, I'm very blessed to have her content on our Roku channel. So if you do have a Roku, add the Nious Media, Nious Media Roku channel, and you'll get to see this special guest that I'm talking about and hear more about her and her Vybes series. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have Peta Vaughan here on Deeper Than Music Radio of Vybes. How you doing?
I'm doing well. That was a good intro. Thank you. I appreciate being here, being a part of this with you. So, yeah, I'm glad we got to connect. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and like I said, I like what you're doing with your show, Vybes, and then you also share your testimony and how you arrived with the show. So I'll let you explain it. Like, my first question, who's Peta, and what does she represent, and what have you got going on?
That's a loaded question, Mark. But
you got a lot going on, so it's more than just one aspect,
But yeah, so you said I'll go from there. So yes, I'm the host and creator of Vybes. It's this show that I like to say incorporates music, art, and spirituality. Those are three of my favorite things. So I wanted to create a show around, because that's basically how I'm connected to myself and through life and spirituality. And, but yeah, I created the show because I wanted to inspire more connection and more hope and more inspiration. I was talking to a friend earlier, just as human beings, like, we're different. A lot of us are different. We have different stories, different backgrounds, different cultures, different lifestyles. But on beyond the surface level, we're all the same. We're all just human beings, just try to live our best life, trying to just make it through life. And I feel like we're connected more through love than anything else, and we're more alike than we are different. So I wanted to create a program that showcased that. And I'm also trying to create more of that in my life as well. More connection, more meaning, more love. So, it's kind of like a, creative expression of my own life, and wanting to connect and bring more meaning to my own life and to the lives of other people. So,
yeah, because it's like during your whole road to Vybes, it seems like there was many incarnations of you to get to where you are. You used to work in the aviation field, the same field I was. Another avenue that you went through as well was broadcasting. So there was many inclinations. Yeah. And then also, upon digging deeper in your journey, I guess it was something that wasn't initially nurtured. You wanted to go one path, but this path kept calling you, correct?
Yeah, definitely. When I was younger, because I say through my Vibing with Peta episode in my journey to Vybes, I expressed on the show that my journey to Vybes was not easy. Like I felt the calling and I heard it at a young age. Like when I was 11, I used to watch a show called Rappin' all the time, and there's a host on the program named Lisa Hanna, and she's like a pretty big Jamaican idol, because I'm Jamaican and I grew up in Jamaica until I was 12. And she inspired me. I just saw how the way she would connect with people and just, hold space for them, and, and also be entertaining at the same time. And I was like, I want that. I feel like I know how to do that. I felt like in my bones, like this is like what I was meant to do. This is how I was meant to connect with people and show up in my gifts. And I pursued it for a while, probably teenage years, early 20s. And because of my own, limiting stories about how wanting to put myself out there and being judged for it, and not wanting people to, see me for who I really am, and just expecting people to judge me for all of the things that I judge myself for. I didn't carry that. I didn't carry the courage and the space to just show up for myself in the way I was meant to. So I feel like for that reason, I heard the calling for Vybes. It was like, okay, why don't you create your own show? Because Vybes was created because I didn't see that. I didn't see the people incorporating like music with art and spirituality, and I wanted to see that for myself. I wanted that type of content, and I just didn't answer the calling. I ignored it. I worked for US Airways Express, which is affiliate with Piedmont. And I did yoga teacher training. I just went all the other ways. I did modeling for a little bit, but it wasn't all satisfying because I just didn't think I could do it. I was like, I can't do this because of whatever limiting stories that I'm carrying around from childhood. And so I ignored it for a while. But it kept showing up. It was just like, yeah, you can do this. Put yourself out there. The people need this. And, I feel like that's how we all operate as human beings sometimes when we want to start something new, or you feel like there's a calling or something for you. But you have to check in with your own stories and your limiting beliefs. And eventually it wouldn't leave me alone. It was like, okay, Peta, people need this. Like, you need to start showing up for yourself. And one of the big things I've learned is that it's not about me. That's what I realized in my calling. I was like, it's not about me. Like, people need this from you. Like, it's something bigger than you. So when I finally just connected with that and realizing that this will not go away, that this is for me, this is what I've dreamed of since I was 11, then I was like, game time. I had to work out my own stuff and my own beliefs, and realize that there was a bigger purpose here than my own limiting beliefs. So I get to just show up for that. So that's how that happened.
And I wanted to ask, because a lot of stuff, who we are, what we are, the whys, a lot of the foundation starts with our upbringing. And I ask a lot of artists this as well, because sometimes you're expected to take the road of the road of less resistance, or the path of least resistance, and then like creatives, when we say we want to do something, do something outside of the box, a lot of people don't create. A lot of people don't support. They want you to take the safe path. Where was your knack for interviewing, your knack for this big vision? Was it initially supported and nurtured growing up, or?
I think in a way it was. I feel like my own limiting beliefs kind of just stemmed from being shy as a kid and not really wanting to put myself out there. And then my family not necessarily, I was just quiet. So I didn't speak up for myself, or I didn't, express my feelings, and I wasn't like a loud child. So I think a lot of that contributed to, me not wanting to put myself out there, those type of stories. But when I was a teenager, I started doing modeling, because everybody was like, you should do modeling. You're tall and you're slender, do modeling. I'm like, okay, I could do that. So I started there, where I was just putting myself out there. My mother took me to agencies, to different shows, to things like that. And so she did nurture me in that way. But as I became an adult, I just realized I didn't like that. I was like, I don't like modeling. I don't like this idea of just people judging you just for looks and not really knowing the person. And so that path didn't feel right to me. So my mother supported me in that. But for me, I wanted something more meaningful, a little bit deeper, more connectedness, and that wasn't fulfilling. So to answer your question, yes, I was supported that that entertainment path as a teenager. But what I wanted to do for myself, because eventually my mother was like, oh, you should go to school and be a nurse, or you should, a more fulfilling career. That's where the parental influence was like, go in that direction so you can have something more stable. But I wasn't really for that. I was a creator, so I wasn't about the college life. So I just I had to figure it out. But no, it wasn't always backed. Okay. I'd say.
Because I know you also went into broadcasting. How was that journey? Because I see that you want to inspire, but then you're like, hey, when I'm front and center in a modeling capacity, I don't like that either. So how was the broadcasting going down that road?
Yeah, so broadcasting, I figured was it was very music related. I was like, I want to be in music somehow, and I still want to interview and connect with people because I love music and I connect on a really deep level with music. So I was like, okay, modeling isn't working. The easiest way I feel like I could get into an entertainment music career would be radio. And I was like, I think I have the voice for it, and I think I have a great personality. So, and I really wanted to do TV. So I was like, I'd rather do hosting and be a TV personality, but what would be the easiest way just to learn the business and just start somewhere? So besides modeling, I was like, broadcasting. I just saw an ad. I was living in California at the time. I moved out to California from Philly when I was 18. And I applied for a whole bunch of different schools, but I didn't get in. So I was like, okay, I want to do something with music. What would be the next best thing? And I saw an ad for a radio broadcasting school in Huntington Beach, California. And I was like, this is it. This is definitely it. So I ended up being a part of that program. I loved every minute of it. I was like, this is my way in. And during that program, we got to interview like radio personalities. So you got to go to a radio station and see how it works, and board operations and all those things. But like anything else, whatever story's running the show, that's what you're going to end up with. So I pursued that for a little bit, but gave up on it because it wasn't working out. Mm-hmm. But it really was my own stories and my own limiting beliefs stopping me from really putting myself out there and pursuing it. So I pursued it for a short time, but street team, I think, was as far as I got. I was on somebody's street team in Philly, and also a board operator for an AM station.
Okay.
And then I decided I didn't like that. I was like, this is not it. I'm not on the radio. So, but it was definitely a good addition to my journey in pursuing what I'm pursuing now, which is hosting and connecting with people.
And I'm pretty sure that the skill set you learned from that helped carry over. Because I again, we were kind of parallel outside of aviation. Before aviation, I interned at an AM radio station in Mississippi. Oh, wow. And then also before I joined the Navy, I was an on-air personality. They hired me to be a disc jockey or on-air talent. And then actually that was the pathway to air traffic control. Like, hey, you could be like a radio station person, but talk to airplanes. I'm like, oh, I could do that. So
that's interesting. But yeah, that's interesting. Parallel journeys for sure.
So what was the breakthrough? Like after that experience, like what was it like, okay, I have to, because going from there to putting yourself fully out there with Vybes, like at what point did you were like, look, I got to go all in, no safety net, I got to create my own situation. Like what was the breakthrough? What did that look like?
I feel for me, because I worked for the airlines. So after radio broadcasting, I really was just like, entertainment is not for me. I made a decision. I was like, entertainment's not for me. It's not working out. Not really realizing it was just me stopping my own self from, pursuing my dreams. But I also had a lot of learnings and a lot of unlearning to do because of these limiting beliefs that was running my life. So I did a lot of personal development work. I probably started in my early 20s, maybe 23, 24. And I went to like a yoga therapy session. And that's when I realized there was things that were stored in my body, like a lot of trauma that I had to discover related to like my mother and my father. And so it started there. So I just started getting more into personal development work. I was like, there's things here that I'm not aware that maybe on a subconscious level that I need to heal to, in order for me to be able to step fully into my purpose. And it just took time. It took time for me to just get through those things, to realize what stories, what healings I needed to do, what wounds were coming up, the connections, relationships, all of those things. And I'd say like within the last 3-4 years, like 4 years ago, I went through a separation, and I already made a decision, like I'm not going to do entertainment. So I want to help people instead. And I got into the physical therapy field, which is like my 9 to 5. And I was like, I can help people in this way. I just always knew I wanted to help people in some way. And I was like, entertainment isn't it. So let me jump into the health field, because my mother's a nurse and she wanted me to become a nurse. And I was like, I don't really want to become a nurse. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, the Caribbean culture where it's like, go be a nurse. And I'm like, that's not it. So through the personal development work, more so now, recently, going back to the separation, that's what I was going through. I was going through something traumatic, and I remember this voice kept coming up, and I was watching a lot of inspiring videos, and I thought, why not incorporate like music in there? Like, why is there nobody talking about music and inspiration and spirituality? And so this idea kept coming up because I was just searching for something just to get me through this, something just to relieve my wounds, my pain. And I wanted something to connect to. So that's when the idea of Vybes came up while I was going through that separation. And it just kept coming stronger and stronger and stronger. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So I ended up doing an interview. I decided that I was just going to do it because it wouldn't leave me alone. Because when something's meant for you, it's not going to go away. So resistance, they say, right? They're like, whatever resists always persists. So it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I know this is meant for me, but how do I go about this? I know nothing about, yes, I know radio broadcasting, but this isn't radio. If I wanted to put something on YouTube, how would I do it? Who are my camera people? What would the sound, all of those production things that I had no clue about. But I remember something just said start. Just start somewhere and you'll figure it out. So I did my first interview, because I just felt like it was in my soul, Mark. Like, it was just there. It was like it wouldn't go away. I'm like, this is meant for me then. So I'm going to start it. And not just because I started it didn't mean it was easy. I just remember starting it, and it took me I did an interview, divinely led, by the way. And I did an interview, because that's a whole different story, so I won't go into that. But my first interview I did, it took me, I remember recording it, and I don't even remember what happened. I just was like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I say? I don't remember any of that. I was just in flow, and I was like, this is what I was meant to be doing. I just remember having that feeling because it felt so aligned with like my soul, Mm-hmm. So I did the interview, and it took me another, I'd say 7-8 months just to release it, because those stories were still running the show. And when I did release it, I was like, okay, this feels good. I can do it. And I released maybe 2 or 3 episodes following that. And then I took I wasn't even say a break. It just took me some time to find the right people, to connect with the right people. Because, when you're in your own project, not everybody's on board with it. No. So you have to connect with the right people that are on board with your mission and what it is that you want to accomplish and put out. So it took me another 2 years after I released the 3rd episode to really find the right people, because it wasn't working. I was like, why is this not working? Why am I not finding the right people? Why is nobody loyal to this process? Does nobody want to save the world? Like, what's going on? And 2 years later, I finally figured it out. It was me. I was like, I am not being consistent with this. I am not the one that's showing up for my own truth, for my own purpose, for my own show, really. So other people aren't going to be on board with it, So that was a breakthrough for me. I realized how I was showing up with this project, and I realized that I wasn't 1,000% committed to it because I was still afraid of what people thought. Even though I put out episodes, I was just like, they're out there. It's why am I still afraid? And so the breakthrough for me was just really doing the work, the actual self-work, and figuring out what were the underlying stories, what were the wounds, what were the traumas that was just stopping me from putting myself out there. And your inside world, like your outside world, is a reflection of your inside world. So I was like, it wasn't working because I wasn't working, right? Yeah. My ideas, my concepts, my practices, how I'm showing up for this project isn't working. Sometimes I'm in it, sometimes I'm not in it, you know. So of course they're gonna reflect that back to you. So that was important for me to realize how I was showing up and how other people were seeing my project and how I was showing up for it. So I had to commit to that. I was like, okay, Peta, if we're going to do this, then we have to commit to what it is that you want to put out there, and 1,000%, not just halfway. Sometimes do it here and there, because that's what you're going to get. So the crew aren't going to support you if you're not going to support yourself, you know? So
yeah. And it's true, like Quincy Jones said it perfectly. He's like, how do you expect people to get goosebumps when you're not excited, or get goosebumps about your project? You know, if you're not excited, how are you going to get other people excited? And one thing that I've heard too, and this goes for like what you do, what I do, consistency is key. That's what keeps them coming, being consistent. And it's crazy how you say the one common denominator in your breakthrough was yourself and how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's people. So in the music industry, they say it's 80% talent, or maybe no, it's like the number is, if you're passionate, people will feed off of your passion. If you're passionate, that's one thing that I heard, like with Tupac was, you know, what sold him and got him a record deal was his passion. He was very passionate about what he was. And and I know like me, you're a person, like David Banner said this too. He was like, don't chase big things. Shine so bright that people will be attracted to you. Be that star. Be that light. And you have that energy. And once everything started, because you reference the universe a lot, and I love your testimony. When you're like, hey, all of a sudden, once you had your mind right, the universe was like, all right, here you go.
Right.
So, with that being said, in your journey and putting this all together, what has been your biggest challenge?
Oh, that's a good question. Myself, really. That's been my biggest challenge, just to be honest. Because, as I said, if what I'm learning is not just through Vybes, but just through life alone, like, you know, and I just said that it's what's happening on your outside world is a reflection of what's happening in your inside world. If things aren't working out for me, or I'm not finding the right people, or I'm not, you know, the opportunities aren't coming, then I got to check back in with me. Like, what's going on with me? Why aren't the opportunities coming? Am I connected with me? Am I connected with my own truth and my purpose and what I want from this? You know, so again, my challenges have been with me. I get frustrated that, okay, you know, I ask an editor to edit this and then I can't find him like 2 weeks later. Okay, what was I doing? Were you on your project for, you know, the amount of time that you said you were going to be on your project? Were you true to your own word about your project? Or it's not them. It's never them, Mark. It's you, right? So that's what I've learned the most about this. And that's been my biggest challenge, is me being consistent with showing up for myself 1,000%. And it's not always going to be 1,000%. You know, I honor the days when I can't show up 1,000%, and that's okay. Like, that's the human in me. But I am my biggest challenge. Is this, I see something on the outside and my outside world is not working, then I get to check back in with me. What's not working with me? What's not alignment? What am I not connected with? What's going on? So that's been my biggest challenge for sure, is just getting over my own self and my own stories and my own beliefs. So, and if it's not working, then I get to check back in and I get to address it with myself.
Yeah, because ultimately, I'm also a musical artist. I remember one of the managers I had, she was working on my press kit, and I was just sitting there relaxing, and she was just like, she's like, you know what? This is your career, not mine. And I'm like, all right, let me help promote, you know, let me go out there. And ultimately it it's your dream. Not everybody is gonna, not everybody's gonna see the vision that you have. Not everybody's gonna understand, and not everybody's gonna grind like you grind. And I'm a firm believer that the captain or the captain is gonna go harder. You got to go harder than your people because they look at you. So you're right, and you're right too, because there's been times where people have believed in something that I've done or a project, and here I am like, and they're like, it's kind of like a slap in the face because they're running off of the energy and they believe in what you do. So you're 100% correct. And on the flip side, what has been so far in Vybes and everything that you're doing, what has been the most rewarding aspect of what you're doing?
That's a good question too. And it really is the flip side of it, because I realized once I started showing up for myself and just really committing to this project and just checking in with what do I really want people to receive from Vybes, and what is the mission, what is it that I want to accomplish with putting Vybes out there. Once I checked in with that and I started creating from that space, then everything aligned up. It was like, oh, I got the right editor that was just about committing to being on board with me. I found like the right camera person who was also about, you know what I mean? Like, so it's once I was aligned with the energy and the truth and the mission of Vybes and what I wanted to put out there and what I want people to feel, right? Because part of it with Vybes is I want to create a world that I want to see, right? So I want to create a more loving, more inspiring world where we can all just be ourselves and live our own purpose and our own truth without, worrying about anything else or anyone else. So I realized once I started embodying that and living that, then everything aligned. Like even our connection, I was just like, oh, Mark, you have a Roku channel. Like, dope. That's what I want. I want to get it out there to as many people as possible to inspire the masses, especially at this point in time. So that's what I recognize. Like, because I mentioned the universe a lot, and it's like, it's very divine. Because once you show up for yourself, because a lot of us worry about what we don't know. Or like, okay, I'm going to put my creative stuff out there, but I don't know. Will it flop? Will it thrive? That's not your job. You know what I mean? That's not my job. My job is to just put it out there. And once you put it out there and you're putting out there with the art, with the work, with the, once you're aligned with it, then everything will start showing itself. It will all start working out. You'll find the right people, the right places, the right situations. So Vybes has taught me a lot about myself. Like, I don't get to hide anymore with Vybes, It's like, I get to see what I'm truly made of and what I'm truly about once I am courageous enough to just put myself out there. And I feel like a lot of people resonate more with it than they do in judging it, Yeah. So.
And I will say, when we put it on the Nious Media Roku channel, I mean, every episode that we have, I've watched. It's engaging. You're comfortable. You're in your zone. Even your testimony about being shy and not want to be out there. You would never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel at home on the show. And again, thank you for allowing us to showcase that on the Roku channel, and also being on Deeper Than Music, sharing your story. As with all our great interviews, we got like 5 minutes left. But I wanted to give this time for you to just what does Peta have going on? What can we expect from Vybes? What is we started off at 2020. Well, what does the future have for you? I don't want to say that the rest of 2020, but
2020 definitely been interesting so far. But yeah, I'm definitely working on more Vybes content for sure. Vybes has been getting a lot of good feedback, and I'm so grateful for Vybes and what it's taught me, and that I get to get out of my own way and just put amazing content out there to inspire people. So I want to do more of that, feature more guests, more artists, more people that are just dope ass people that are just doing awesome things in the world. But for right now, there's a shift in the format of Vybes, and I'm going to focus more on a video chat series because I can't go out there and interview people live. But I'm going to focus on a video chat series that's coming up that will focus more on what we need right now in this pandemic. So I have guests lined up that are like social media brand experts, that are holistic food coaches, doctors, just people that have medicine on their hearts that can offer to people now that are going through things in this pandemic. So I can't imagine how everyone's feeling, but I'm sure there's a lot of fear and anxiety, and I feel like my job is to offer medicine to get people out of that energy and out of that state, and to realize that this is a space for everyone to just come back to themselves and their own truth and their own purpose and what they're meant to do here on this planet, to give back and to give their own medicine and their own purpose. So to inspire that. So, and I see Vybes thriving. I'd love to have Vybes expand to just bigger media platforms, whether it's like Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever the case is, or just network TV. I'd love that, just to we can be in more homes and offer more medicine, more purpose.
Yeah. No, you're definitely on your right path. Like I said, thank you for allowing me to share your content on the Roku. I mean, that's 80 million potential listeners, and I mean, I see like ads. The channel gets ads daily, so thank you for that. And ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here with Peta. If you guys haven't checked out Vybes, you can check her out on Nious Media Roku channel. And before we forget, where can people find you on social media?
Social media, yes. I have my social media page is Peta, spelled P-E-T-A, the number 4, and Sheezy, so S-H-E-E-Z-Y. So Peta for Sheezy, that's my IG. And Vybes also has its own Instagram page, which is Vybes _ the number 4 _ for all. So it's Vybes for all. But I'm sure if you look up Vybes, you can find it. Also on YouTube, you could just put in Peta Vaughan, or you can put in Vybes with Peta Vaughan, and you can find on the YouTube as well. But we do want you to check out Nious' channel for all of the Vibe stuff, which is dope. Thank you for offering that platform. I really, really appreciate it. I'm about expanding the message to more people, so I'm on the right path. And as I said, once you just show up, the universe puts people in your path that will help you grow and thrive, and I feel like you're one of those people. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Not a problem.
For that.
Thank you for all that you do, and thank you for being on Deeper Than Music. Another great episode with your guest here, Peta Vaughan, and you know where to find her: YouTube, Nious Media Roku channel, and Instagram. So this is Mark and Peta signing off for Deeper Than Music Radio. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music. Deeper than music.